Well, one of the first signs of an ailing economy is a building industry without too much building going on. So with data pointing to a 20% drop-off in dwelling investment, the government has come up with its HomeBuilder Scheme. Now, given how well the government has done with all its hastily created stimulus measures recently because of the pandemic, it actually surprises me how much of a dud this is. It's got such narrow entry points. It's means tested and you can't be earning more than $125,000 as a single person. Yet they're asking the same people to press go on projects of between $150,000 and $750,000. Really? And for that, the federal government will contribute $25,000. Hasn't been any agreement about states chipping in, but they've been invited. As for getting plans drawn up, approved by council, and maybe a part loan provided by the bank, you've got to do that all before December. As if. The opposition had no less than 5 shadow ministers out on the hustings today to tear this scheme down. Sorry, but it deserved it. One man who knows all about building and the economy is infrastructure expert and businessman Tony Shepherd. Now, he may disagree entirely, but let's find out. Tony, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure, Chris.
I want to start with your overall conclusion when you heard about this today. Is it too narrow to entice people to spend that amount of money when their jobs are in jeopardy?
Look, let's try it and see. I think the government is transitioning from JobKeeper, which is a broad-based program, to specific targeted attention to those parts of the economy that are really suffering. Now, that is just, the building sector is certainly one that's suffering, and, you know, building has dropped through the floor and you've got to do something about it. And it's not just in terms of new buildings, it's also in terms of repairs, maintenance and rebuilding, and they should give it a go. There's no doubt about that this is a sector that's suffering, but there are wider parts of the economy that are really suffering, you know, whether it be retail, whether it be hospitality, those hotels, bars, pubs, cafes and what have you, whether it be entertainment and sport. I mean, you know, entertainment, what would you do in the arts community now? I mean, you know, no artists are being employed, no artists are being paid. What would you do in sport? The sport, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry in Australia, how do you keep those people engaged? So I'm sure that this is one part of a program that will come on after JobSeeker to target attention to those parts of the economy that really are suffering.
But when I first saw this, when I first read, I think it was the front page of The Australian, and it said renovation rescue, and I thought to myself, right, people will be incentivised with grants or subsidies or even a GST rebate to do up their bathroom, to spend $25,000, $30,000 or something. This is really out of reach of a lot of people.
Well, it sure is. It's targeted at the middle because it is means tested. So we don't want people in Bellevue Hill taking money out of the scheme,
no,
getting their 6th bathroom fixed up, do we?
But why couldn't we have said to people who earn $125,000, how about if you did something that was under $100,000 and we'll help you out with that? It's too high.
I agree. Oh, look, I think you should broaden the program. I think they're doing a suck it and see how it goes, and they should broaden the program because there are so many tradespeople out there now looking for work, and it is time to get them engaged. The property industry, once the economy starts to recover, will get going and create its own momentum. But in the intervening period, we need to look after these people. So, I mean, my advice to government would be, let's broaden the scheme. Sure, you can start off like this, but let's broaden the scheme and see how it goes. I like the fundamental driver of this, which is to get tradespeople back in work, and I think that's a great driver. Now, whether the brackets around the scheme are too tight, let's time will tell, but I'm sure they will adjust.
And even an extension to the time period, because as I say, the banks put you through the ringer now when you want a little bit of money from them because of the Royal Commission, understandably so. I don't know any council, in Sydney at least, that would approve a back shed within 12 months. These things take time. And first of all, the homeowner has to sit down and be comfortable about, signing off on a project that large. So maybe the time span needs to increase as well.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we need to put pressure on the councils. Look, don't be ridiculous.
Yes.
If you're replacing like with like,
yes,
for heaven's sake, we're in the middle of a pandemic. This is the worst crisis we've had since World War II. Let's not get too precious about it. I'm replacing a bathroom. It's not historic. Let me do it.
Yes.
For heaven's sake, I don't need your approval.
Cut all the red tape, cut all the green tape, because
cut that rubbish out.
Yeah.
And frankly, I don't know whether you actually need council approval, but we're so beholden to regulations and rules in Australia now. We're not game to change a door handle without getting approval. I mean, we've got to get over that syndrome too, which is quite ridiculous.
Well said. Now, I heard the Premier of New South Wales, Gladys Berejiklian, talk about the fact that New South Wales intends to fast-track so many more major infrastructure projects. I'm waiting for Scott Morrison to come up with some big-ticket items. Will he?
He will. He's asked the states for this. It's up to the states to come forward with the major ticket items because they are fundamentally state projects in most cases.
Yeah. So
let's get going. We need some major ticket items. Look, the problem, as you know, Chris, with major ticket items is between concept and starting work takes 2 to 3 years minimum in Australia. By the time you go through all the processes of government, design, calling bids, planning approval, blah, 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 it's 2 to 3 years. So what you really need is something what we need now is something that'll hit immediately. And my advice to government has been, get on with maintenance. Every public authority in Australia, from the local weeny little shire council to the biggest state-owned corporation to the biggest department, has got a backlog in maintenance.
Yeah.
And we've got contractors in place, we've got tradespeople in place, we've got contract managers in place. Just get on with it. It's not as sexy, I guess, as a new building.
No, but it puts people in work.
It puts people to work. You get in and fix the bathrooms at a public school, okay? Put in new taps, replace the basements, retile the floor, paint the things, put in taps that you don't have to touch, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Just
do it.
Yeah.
And the whole school is uplifted in the process. Put a bit of paint around. Make the classrooms look better.
I love it.
Fix the playing fields. Why should public schools play on crappy playing fields?
Yeah, very true.
I mean, what's the logic in that?
Tony, I wish you were back in the Prime Minister's office like you were when Tony Abbott was around advising government what to do at the moment. Good luck for the Giants next week too, by the way.
Thanks, Chris, and we will win. Absolutely.
Good stuff.
It's our year. It's the year of the Giants.
Thank you, Tony.